All right, we are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Dope Individuals podcast. This is episode 2 of our show. As we have talked about, we have rebranded, and gone down a different route. This definitely caters a lot more to what we do, day to day. So without further ado, like I said, welcome to episode 2
of the Dope Individuals podcast. It's your boy Mons. Subscribe on all the good shit. If you want Apple, shout out to you. If you watching the video right now on YouTube, shout out to you. You can look at me right now and what up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Dope Individuals podcast.
Yes, sir. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, man. So, really quick, obviously, Monday Night Football obviously just ended. Did you catch any of it at all?
Yeah. So I did watch the game because I had fantasy stipulations on the line.
Fantasy sports, as we all know, is a big thing for us.
I was like, fuck, because I'm over here in one league. I got Zeke on my team.
Yeah, I had him too.
And I need him to put up some points for me to win that league. But then in another league, I'm going up against Zeke and I was going up against Sanders. And fucking I was only up by a certain amount of points, and I only had the kicker for fucking Dallas, and they just kept scoring touchdowns. He didn't even get a fucking 3-point fucking hit or nothing. So I'm like, fuck. And he missed one of the PATs on the touchdown.
Oh,
so
brutal.
I was like, bro, are you serious? So yeah, it's bad right now in 2 of my leagues. I'm about to start 0-3.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
I'm about to start 0-3 in one of my leagues too, Brad. Tell me,
it's kind of rough.
I'm in a league where one of the flex positions, I think I was telling you this the other day, you could put a quarterback in there. And I had no idea you could do that until midway through my draft. So first 2 rounds, I'm seeing a bunch of quarterbacks get taken off a list. I'm like, damn, what are these dudes doing? These dudes are a bunch of chumps. Little did I know, I was the chump now looking at the settings. So luckily,
I hate when you just assume the settings are similar to your other leagues, and then you start getting in, then you're like, what the fuck?
Last year I was in a league where I didn't realize in order to pick up players, you could pick them up at any time. There was no waiver wires. So I'm talking about if it's third quarter in the game and Joe Schmo is going off, you can pick up Joe Schmo right then and there. You know what I'm saying? So it's really
that's wild.
It is really a matter of who is watching the game continuously. And who can get to their phone the fastest. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, I missed out on quite a few players. I got a few players last year. I had picked up James Robinson before anyone else did, and he ended up being a top 5, top 10 running back all year. So it pays off here and there. Thankfully they finally changed it back to normal this year. And it's cool. I'm in 5 leagues this year, so I'm doing a lot of research, man.
That's wild. That's a lot. I'm in 3.
I'm doing a lot of research, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. It's all right.
So 2 of my leagues, I'm 0-3, and I'm like,
yeah, I
gotta turn this shit around.
I had Zeke in 2 of my leagues, but I had already won. I needed CD Lamb to get at least 20 points from me, and he did not. He got 10. So I lost by 7 points in the league. It was a tough loss. Tough loss.
Yeah, all my losses have been close, and I've just been hella annoyed. I'm leaving points on the bench. I'm fucking people aren't coming through. Like Amari Cooper, if he just fucking got me if he just had gotten me 3 more points tonight, I would have won. But instead, bro, just want to be fucking. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. Fam, you should have been a part of that, dog. Y'all scored hella touchdowns. Where was my guy?
Man, speaking of close losses, I know you saw that. Oh, I mean, we watched it together. Niners Packers. We got to touch on that real quick.
Had the Niners take last episode with Shanahan and needing to put up points and shit like that.
Listen, Niners Nation, we want to know what you guys think, all right? Because we had a conversation yesterday trying to discuss, who is really to blame here for the Niners loss yesterday. Is there anyone to blame? Is it on the coaching staff, for leaving too much time on the clock, honestly? Is it Jimmy G's fault, for not playing well throughout most of the game and kind of putting us in that position to begin with, was it the defense's fault? For really not holding their end of the bargain at the end, and they really just failed their assignment, because I think we all know that as soon as, they were given the ball with 40 seconds left or whatever, the ball was going to go straight to Davante Adams every time. And even Aaron Rodgers said it in the post-game conference, where he was like,
the fact
I'm looking for Tay,
got that shit off is so annoying, bro.
Twice.
They got off. Davante Adams got 2 catches in the most clutch moments of the game, and that just should not happen.
Niners defense is too good for that. You should know
who the ball is. Yeah, you should know who the ball is going
to.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we had injuries, all that type of shit, but, like, fam, you got to know who the ball is going to. If somebody else would have made those catches, fine. You know what I mean?
If MVS or some random nobody,
you know what I'm saying?
We did our best, whatever.
Yeah, you lost track of the fucking random. Like, you was holding on to Davante Adams, but the fact that he got both of them is just like, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you know how I feel, bro. Like, fam, I'm going to have people that are like, oh, we scored 28 points. We did like boom, boom. And it's like, all right, cool. We scored 28, right? We didn't play a good first half of football
at all.
So if we're looking at the entire season, right now, we've played 2 good halves of football in the entire in the first 3 games right now. We've only played 2 good halves. The first half against the Lions and the second half against the Packers. But in the Packers game, we can't fucking play from behind. You can't go down 17-0, bro. Like, you can't go down 17-0 to that team. You know what I'm saying? And especially in the rhythm that Rodgers was in all game, like, fam, come on.
Yeah.
He was hitting on, like, all of his passes.
I think it's pretty clear now that Aaron Rodgers has shut up any doubt after week 1, after that goose egg that they laid basically in week 1. Now through weeks 2 and 3, the dude is damn near perfect, in his QB rating and his accuracy, so.
And Davante Adams has been balling with
Davante Adams has been eating like the number 1 receiver that he is. That dude is the number 1 receiver, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think there's a lot of people that will argue that. If they can, really all you got to do is look at the numbers, look at the playmaking abilities, look at their success, look at their chemistry. It's no secret that Aaron Rodgers, I think, targeted Davante Adams on somewhere around 50% of his passes, some shit like that last night, so.
So I'm saying, like, we can't play from behind, and, like, I don't know. I got my Shanahan takes off last game, but, like,
he was pissed at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some shit today that was like, he plays to not lose, and I was like, I kind of feel that, because there's a big ass difference between, like, playing to not lose the game and playing to win the game. If you playing to win the game, you are gonna take risks. You are gonna take fucking like all this type of shit. I think there was one play where, like, it was 4th and like 1 or some shit like that, and he opted to punt instead, and it was just like, fam, you got to take that. Like, you got to take that, dog. Like, you have to. Those are the types of risks that you have to take. You know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
Watching the Chargers and Chiefs game this weekend, and there were a few instances where the Chargers were 4th and 1, 4th and 5. There was even one where they were 4th and 9, and they went for it, and they got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I kid you not, it gave them the boost and the momentum to beat the Chiefs. Like.
That's such a big confidence boost. Like, if you convert a 4th and whatever, like, that's such a big confidence
don't sleep
boost.
on the Chargers.
Such a big momentum.
Don't sleep on the Chargers. Like, that team is nice.
Yeah, they've been eating. But yeah, so I mean, going back to the Niners, I'm just like, we can't play from behind. That's one. And fucking, like, if this is Jimmy's peak, and I think this is my, like, main point, because everybody's like, you can't just throw in a quarterback, you can't just throw him out there, like, all that type of shit. Like, listen, I saw what happened with Justin Fields this weekend. He was eating shit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't mind him eating shit, because that's going to add to his experience. He has to eat shit right now. Like,
he ate some shit.
You just came into the NFL.
My guy took like 8 sacks.
Like, you taking these hits, like that's how you're going to figure out this game. That's how you're going to figure out how to be successful, how to best utilize your skill set, is by eating shit like that. And so if that were to happen to Trey Lance, I'm more than in support with it. And if it obviously leads to a couple losses and everything like that, okay, fine, we have to deal with it. But the only reason I'm saying that is because if this is Jimmy's peak, does this peak get us to the Super Bowl? Does this peak even get us? Like, I feel like, okay, we have a good enough defense to where we could probably slide into the playoffs. But if we just a 1-game exit in the playoffs, was it worth it? Like, was it worth it to just be a 1-game like exit in the playoffs in the NFL when it's like we could have just gotten a season under for Trey Lance and he's going into his sophomore season, like way more experienced, way more game speed, like ready and shit like that.
Let me ask you this. There are some that I think would counter your point of view and say, like, for example, when you say Jimmy's peak, I think there's some that could say, not me, but there's some that could say, Jimmy G has already technically got us to the Super Bowl at this peak. And the defense, while, albeit I think it was a little bit better, in the Super Bowl year, it's not too far off, I don't think, from what we got now. So what do you think would be the biggest, I guess, key differences in those two situations?
I can't remember. Did Jimmy tear his ACL before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl?
It was after.
Like it was the season after the Super Bowl,
yeah, it was the season after.
So, I mean, him coming off of that ACL, was he necessarily the same that he was that Super Bowl year? Because I feel like there was times when he first came in and was on that crazy like win streak with us, and then that Super Bowl year, I definitely feel like there was differences in his play in terms of his throws, how he was hitting people,
his mobility,
like his trust and all of that. And I'm like, did he lose some of that coming back from this injury?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like, is this the best that we're going to get out of him at this point? And if this is the best that we're going to get out of him at this point, the short yard passes and fucking like more game management style, then I'm kind of like, it might be time to just move the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, they're like, they still have to keep his value so they can trade him and all this type of shit. I'm like, fam, like at this point, this is his value. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
Like a game where he's going to go off for like 400 yards or some shit like that. Like, how many games this season is he going to go off for 400 yards? How many games this season is he even going to go off for 300 yards? So like, what are we even really doing here? If he's not able to do that and we're not able to put up points, because the only times that we've really been scoring have been that first half against the Lions and the second half against the fucking Packers. The rest of the time, like, they haven't really been that pretty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm just kind of like, where are we at with it in that case? And if that's the case, like, I don't know. I don't think you need to fucking sit around and wait for the fucking young QB to be ready. I think you throw him in there, throw him into the fire, and like, let's get this shit running. Like, get some experience under his belt, let him get game speed, and just figure it out as he plays. Like, I'm more with that, and I feel like if we drafted up for a QB for that, and this is Jimmy's peak, and Jimmy's peak is not getting us to a Super Bowl, what are we doing here? Like, because we have the pieces. Like, we have the pieces on.
That's a good point.
Other aspects of the team.
I think that's a really good point. Is that, yeah, we do have, realistically all the pieces or most of the pieces that we need to get to the Super Bowl, and I think we already proved it, 2 years ago. You definitely make a great point. Niners fans, Niners Nation, what do you guys think? What do you guys want to see Trey Lance? Do you guys want to keep Jimmy G in there? From what I've seen on social media, and I think, Mons, you would probably agree, we see a lot of mixed reviews. There's a lot of Niners fans that stand by Jimmy, think he's the truth, think that he can take us to the promised land, as you know from our group text. There's other fans, that definitely are tired of Jimmy. They're right where you at. They think they have seen Jimmy's peak. This is the best he's going to get. And I think you can kind of tell from his mental aspect, does he really have that like winner X factor, that winner quality? Because, and I'll tell you why I say that. I don't see necessarily the intensity in him or the leadership in him when it comes down to drives or, bad situations. And I'm not saying that he's a horrible leader either, just from what I guess I've observed, at least, on the field, from what I see on TV, from his conferences and whatnot. he seems as if he's the leader that was elected, but not necessarily the leader that they need, if that makes sense. He was kind of just the guy that was put in the position. They're like, hey, you're cool, but he's not the guy that can take you there necessarily to the promised land. Like he's just not.
And I will give it to him.
Like, damn.
Yeah, I will give it to him in the sense of like you did come off of like a big injury, and while people come back from ACL as well, everybody doesn't come back from ACL as well. You know what I'm saying? And like if that still sticks with you, and that still sticks with you out on the field, and like that type of shit, like it shows. Like there's times where it's just like bruh just seems mad hesitant. Or there's times where he just
seems nervous. Yeah, like he just seems kind of
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like he's not really sure. Like, oh shit, like what are we doing here?
Like where am I going here? What am I doing? Like you know what I'm saying? Like some of the shits I'm just like.
I'll give you a perfect example, and it may be a little bit unfair to compare him, to Aaron Rodgers in the same game. But you look at Aaron Rodgers, right? You look at him in those situations where he's down 40 seconds. The dude is like Tom Brady, to where they're almost excited. They almost know, that it's like, yo, you gave me too much time. Like. I know what I need to do. I know how I'm going to do it. My team knows how I'm going to do it. Like, we're ready. We're ready to do this. And I don't see that when it comes to the Niners. When it comes to the Niners, it's almost like, all right, let's try this and let's see if it works. And I don't like that, Yeah,
with the Niners, it's always been like that confidence is more on the defense. But then it's like,
I agree.
When the defense then fucks up, it's like, it's almost a little unfair because it's just like, well, damn, like, the offense didn't necessarily put us in a position to put this game home. You know what I'm saying? Like, the offense also has to take care of the defense in the sense of, like, we put up enough points on the board to where, like, we're going to give y'all some cushion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't be on the defense every single time to pull out a game. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Like, that's just not realistic. And at the end of the day, too, it's like, you could say whatever you want, but the goal of the game is to put up points, and you're way more likely to score on offense than you are on defense. Like that's just the facts. Yeah. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's just like you have way more opportunity. So it's like you have to have people that put points on the board. Like there was even one play I think in the second half where Trey Lance got in, and it was like another goal line snap, and instead of getting sacked, he rolled out of the pocket and was able to go all the way to the sideline and still try and make a play happen.
I've seen that one. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But he was mobile. He was moving. Like you see all these quarterbacks, bro, and they be rolling out of the pocket. Like how many times did Dak roll out of the pocket today? Jalen Hurts didn't have a good game,
but he still does.
But he was. You know what I'm saying? He's rolling out of the pocket, getting throws. Like
I think the NFL is definitely moving towards that. Yeah, towards the mobile younger quarterbacks. Like, look at all the new quarterbacks coming in. You got even Mahomes mobile, Lamar Jackson. You got Justin Herbert that moves. Even Daniel Jones from the Giants is out there running. Like
Josh Allen,
another good runner.
Like all of them they're all moving. They're moving. They're getting out of the pocket and they're either getting some yards. And did Jimmy get some rushing yards? Sure. But I'm not talking about the rushing yards. I'm talking about like being able to spin out of the pocket.
Yeah. Like, can you really move away?
Still have your arm. And at this point, like, I'm not convinced that Jimmy has a better arm than Trey Lance. Like, I think Trey Lance has the better arm if we're talking about being able to get the ball down the field.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of arm strength, I don't think it's a question. Trey Lance has that shit on lock. And I think it's a matter of time before he gets the accuracy on point two. I think definitely from an accuracy standpoint, you could probably give it to Jimmy G. But I think I don't know if that's more so a talent thing. I think that's just more so practice makes perfect, and dude's been thrown under Tom Brady for a minute. So
at that type of, like putting all those things in mind, I'm just like, fam, you take with what the punches give you. You know what I'm saying? In terms of putting him in the game. And it's like, okay, like his full on accuracy and game speed might not be there, but that's what we're trying to get under his belt. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to get that under your belt until you get in the game and actually start playing. You know what I'm saying? So like doing all this waiting around shit, I feel like, fam, like it's time. Like the first 3 games, we've gotten an indication of what Jimmy G is. And if anything, like, if you're not going to start him, we need way more snaps and drives with Trey Lance. We need full drives with Trey Lance, not full this drives. Fucking like I'm gonna bring him in for one play and all this type of shit. Nah, like I need full plays for him. Didn't he scored the first touchdown in this Packers game?
Right.
Didn't
His
he?
stat line was 1-for-1, 1 yard and a touchdown.
And I know that's just they just put him in, he just ran it in. Okay, cool, but he scored, right? He went in and he went in and he did what he needed to do.
My point was they're not using him. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not using him at all. Like
that's what I'm saying. But like they're just using him in these little like small ass moments. Like, fam, stop with the babying shit and put him in the fucking game, bro. He's a number 3 pick, bro. Like, let's see him play, dog.
That shit is just as annoying as like when you have a running back and they're trying to get the touchdown, and at the 1 they give it to like, you know, the running back 2, like the back, bruh. Like, are you serious?
Come on,
for real? You let my man's put in all that work for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, disrespectful.
Like, get him the fucking touchdown. But yeah, I'm just like, Jimmy G is not that good right now for you to be like, oh, we don't want to play Trey Lance. Like, that's just plain and simple. Jimmy G is not that good right now where it's like, oh, we shouldn't play Trey Lance and that type of thing. Everybody was saying in the beginning of the season, like, oh, like if Jimmy G has him in this spot or if he's been balling or whatever, like, cool, they're 2-1. It's been an ugly 2-1. We can't just sit here and pretend like it hasn't been an ugly 2-1. We almost gave that game up to the fucking Lions where we scored 31. We fucking that Philadelphia game was just a fucking ugly ass game all around.
Really quick, for all you Lions fans out there, I just want to say I'm so sorry for y'all because y'all could have had the Niners game and now the Ravens game after watching that kick. We got to mention that kick real quick. That kick, 66 yards from Justin Tucker, a new NFL record. If you haven't watched the play, you got to go watch the play. The kick hits the crossbar, bounces up, and slowly bounces in. And the Lions, up to that point, had completely stopped the Ravens basically on offense up until that last drive. Like, it's not what you would expect from the Lions, you know, like playing against someone like Lamar Jackson, you know. So I thought it was a really good showing for the Lions. I thought they deserved that win. But, hey, that's football. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, didn't fucking like Lamar, didn't he like convert on a 4th and 19 before that kick even happened?
Yes, he did.
I think he converted. I think he converted on a 4th and 19.
And the controversial part about that is that if you were watching it from the CBS broadcast, like I was, there was about 2 seconds before they hiked it in which the clock read 0, the play clock. And so many fans were saying that it should have been a delayed game. But a lot of other people were saying, you know, that it was just the broadcast, you know, was a little late and that the actual play clock itself, you know, was good. So I'm not sure. I haven't looked too much into it. But I know exactly what play you're talking about. Sorry, Lions fans.
Sorry, Detroit.
You guys are looking good, though. That new coach y'all got is promising. I like it. But
bro, don't lie to them.
No,
don't lie to them. Hey. Jared Goff is the QB and shit.
Yeah, Jared Goff is not the truth. I'll tell you guys that right now. You know, but the coach, coach y'all got is cool. I like that coach.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I know y'all sick watching Matt Stafford ball out for the fucking
Matthew
Rams.
Stafford.
I know y'all sick, bro.
He has the most touchdowns for any Rams quarterback through 3 games.
Bro, I know y'all are sick watching him ball out with a solid ass head coach.
Good for him, though.
Solid ass defense. Like, good for him.
Good for him because he's always been a good quarterback. Like, he's always been a shitty situation.
He's never got his due. Like, you could. It's always been like he's been on that borderline of like, oh, do we put him with like Big
the
Ben
elites,
and
you know, or like do we put him under?
Yeah, do we put him with the elites and all this type of shit? And it's always been like, nah, the Lions really haven't done shit and all this.
But it's not his fault.
Hey, salute to you, bro. Salute to you, bro. Do your shit.
How
on
many
Rams
games
that was
over the last few years did he have where he led him to a comeback and their kicker missed a field goal or some shit? You know, like so many times. But there's a statistic out there. I think he's number 1 or number 2 in game-winning drives since like 2014 or some shit like that. Yeah, my guy has the most, and my guy don't even make the playoffs. You know, like Tom Brady is still playing. Like that's pretty. I think so. It's
salute impressive. To him. Salute to him.
One of like 7 to throw for like 5,000 yards. Like it's crazy. Yeah, he got some numbers, bro.
Salute to him. But yeah, other than that, fuck fantasy football this week. I need to bounce the fuck back. If I come on this podcast next week and I tell you that I'm 0-4. I'm gonna take 4 shots on this podcast next week. If I come through 0-4, I'm gonna take 4 shots. I'll take 4 shots for y'all for every single
y'all
game.
Heard it, and they got to be on camera too. So
yeah, bro, I'm gonna do it right here, here, face to face. I'm gonna do 4 shots if I start off 0-4 in our league. Because fuck, man, like I can't start.
Hey, this is what I'll tell you. If you're 0-4,
especially in our league, like let's put it like this: I'm 0-3 in the bragging league. That is the worst spot to be in.
And we're trying to be extra, about enforcing our fantasy punishments this year, and so it would be a really bad year for you to get last place or anything around there.
This camera keeps switching the light on me, and I don't even change the color of the lights,
dog,
bro.
It's trying to put you in the mood, dog. It's Nipsey Blue, you feel me?
Bruh, just keep this fucking purple. But anyways, yeah, fuck fantasy football. Shit. Moving on into the fucking NBA world, media days are going on and shit. Media days happen today.
NBA season's almost back, y'all. It's almost back.
Bruh.
We so close.
We literally 20 days away, some shit like that. Preseason's going to start earlier, but opening night is the 21st of October, so less than a month away. Yeah, bro, we big in there.
Shit.
We big
when the season starts, is everyone going to be able to play?
Bruh.
We got to talk about
this whole fucking vaccinated, unvaccinated, and I'm already knowing all y'all, I don't need, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm not gonna group y'all into nothing. I'm not gonna call nobody anti-vaxxers, vaccine hesitant, whatever you are, whatever side you are, if you're deciding to not take the shot, fine. But some of the people that are really, really I don't know why, mad invested in being gotcha, the vaccine doesn't do this, the vaccine doesn't do that. Why would you put that shit in your body? The government this and all that type of shit, those types of people, and that have been fucking posting and just continue to just fucking post about it. It's just I know they eating this shit up because they're yeah, look at the NBA players, look at Kyrie, look at whoever, and it's just fam, why do we got to do this? Why do we got to do this?
Yeah.
Why do we got to do this?
Yeah.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot, dog. Whether you get it or you don't, make your decision, live with it, and keep it moving. I don't know. I don't understand why we got to talk about it so much.
Yeah, there's definitely no need to talk about it. I think what just like Mon says, it's a really short conversation that's being dragged out too long. Look, if you want to get it, cool. If you don't want to get it, cool. Just take care of yourself. We obviously have no control over, what governments and mandates and all that type of shit will do, so I don't think it's fair to necessarily take it out on the players, for how they feel and their opinions and whatnot. But,
yeah, I've been seeing some extra shit, for a couple players that obviously don't want to get vaccinated and shit. Listen, fam, from all you journalists, media members, whatever, we understand. Let me put it clear. We understand what the vaccine is, and we understand why, everybody, it's obviously encouraged for everybody to get it and all this sort of shit. It's gonna help fucking prevent it and try and make it go away, right? Completely understand that shit as far as herd immunity and why we want so many more people vaccinated. But at the same time, I'm also logical in the sense that I don't think there's ever going to be a time in history where everybody is just on the same page when it comes to one topic. You always have to have those people that are against it. You know what I'm saying? When has there ever been a group of people, or when has there ever been where we've all collectively come together and been yeah, we all agree on this topic. We all agree that this is how it should be. I feel that shit does not happen.
It doesn't.
You know what I'm saying? So this shit is literally just another iteration of that. But the thing that it comes to this, I feel is there's just so much fucking wild and false information that be going around, and everybody just trying to
there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Be smarter, you know what I'm saying?
It's just and it's very unfortunate.
As far Yeah, as far as it comes to like the NBA in particular, like you media heads and shit like that are like calling on these like basketball players' character and fucking like, oh, they're not a good teammate, oh, they're not this, they're not that, like all that type of shit, like questioning them as people because of this decision as hesitancy, like that shit's not
It
cool,
don't make
man.
sense.
Like that shit is not cool. Like, regardless of what their decision is, whether they want to get it or don't get it, we don't need to attack these players and attack them in any sort of way and like start attacking their character in the basketball locker rooms and like all this type of shit. Cause like you would have never even thought to question their character if this fucking vaccine and shit like that didn't exist. So personally, I do think that that's lame as fuck. Whatever my belief is, whether they should be getting vaccinated or shouldn't be getting vaccinated, whatever that type of shit, that's a whole different conversation. Like you could say that without fucking attacking these players. I think that's one thing that I've like a little bit of a piece that I've just like been seeing, and like I don't fuck with that like a lot. And it's coming from like media heads and, you know, people with blue checks on Twitter and shit like that, like talking spicy and
it's
shit.
Coming from
and
the people that's opinions really don't fucking matter, bro. Like,
yeah,
just
like
to be
fam,
honest,
shut the
like,
fuck
yeah.
up. Like don't be questioning these players and shit like that. Like you got people on their own team fucking like standing behind them and shit like that. Like,
yeah, and that's how it should be. Like, why not defend, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's right to have a choice. Like, what the fuck? Like, damn, that's all they trying to like speak up on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's definitely a bunch of different conversations to be had, but in this case, you know, we're just talking about being able to have a choice, you know, and at least expressing that choice, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, all this shit started with Wiggins and fucking, you know, obviously my squad. It's got to start over here, like. Starting with the fucking Warriors, talking about Wiggins not playing. He was trying to get religious exemption and like shit like that.
Can I just ask really quick, what is he claiming his religion is? Or is he religious? Does anyone know?
So the whole shit with religious exceptions from what I saw is that like it doesn't have to be tied to like a specific like mainstream religion. Like religion could just be like based upon your belief, based upon like your beliefs and shit. So like he doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, like I'm this, so like I can't get it or something like that. Like it can more so be based in his beliefs in terms of like what a religious like exemption is like in a lot of states, right? But in some states, I think it's like a little bit more stricter and shit like that. Pretty much like this shit is only a story, and this shit is only like, you know, like really, really being highlighted for Wiggins because he plays in a city where they have these like very, very specific mandates. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think any other team is going through this except for
maybe New York, yeah.
Brooklyn and the New York Knicks. And right now, the only person who's focused on over there is Kyrie Irving. And same thing with him. It's like, the only thing with Kyrie is that he is part of the Players Association. Like he is, I think what is he like? I think he's the vice president or some shit like that. I don't even know. Like he's somewhere in the Players Association. So like his say does have a lot of say. You know what I'm saying? Like his say definitely does, like, you know, like if he's leaning towards one way and all that type of shit, like that definitely is going to gain some attention. And Wiggins has gotten a lot of attention. And he was asked to speak on it today at Media Day and shit like that too.
Yeah, I think he chose not to, right? Like
yeah, at
he
this
said
point,
it was a personal choice, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's still like, you know, I'm just going to continue to fight for what I believe in and all this type of shit. And I'm going to give it to you straight like this. When it comes to that presser, when it comes to like the shit that he said in that presser, I think it's very much just on some like, I'm not going to give you all the satisfaction. Like, even if I in my head right now, like, yeah, I'm probably going to get the vaccine to make sure I'm good, like, to go as far as, like, the first games of the season and all that type of shit. Mm-hmm. Like, even if I am deciding that, I'm not going to tell you that in the presser today because you guys just keep like bugging me and annoying me about it and have like made it into a bigger story than it needs to be. And I think that's partly where it's like, it's kind of fucking lame that like this was made into such a big story because of the specific mandates that are in San Francisco. Like, this is not an NBA mandate. And I think that's the biggest thing that needs to be kind of like shared here, is that this is not an NBA, like, oh, this is from your where you work for mandate and like all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if I'm in the eyes of an NBA player and I'm in the eyes of especially like Wiggins and Kyrie Irving, for example, we talked about this where the rule pretty much allows for unvaccinated opponents to play in San Francisco and in Chase Center, but doesn't for an unvaccinated player on the Warriors.
I would like,
and so the same thing would be same thing is going on with Brooklyn.
If anyone's watching this show and here's this part and knows the answer, I would like one of you guys to answer that question for us, because I think we're genuinely curious as to why an unvaccinated player from an away team can play in San Francisco, but not a home player. I genuinely want to know why.
And I was doing a little bit of other reading as well, and apparently the city and like, you know, whoever is putting in this mandate could technically put in a mandate that unvaccinated players from an opponent cannot play either.
Oh,
but they haven't put that in play.
It's just a matter of time, I think.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but even with that, right? Like, I think that's unfair in the sense of like all this focus is going on Wiggins and Irving for home games, but if those cities put that shit in for away games, it turns into now a bigger thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, unvaccinated players from all teams now, like if you're coming in, like, for example, Bradley Beal is fucking like, oh, I'm not vaccinated, all this sort of shit. Cool, you come to Chase Center, you can't play. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you're doing that, then okay. Then it's like, all right, fine. Then at least you're consistent with what you're saying, that an unvaccinated player cannot play a professional basketball game in our city. That if you put a full-on rule like that in, fine. You put in your mandate. You know what I'm saying? But if right now it's going to be on some shit where like, oh, the home team can't have an unvaccinated player, but the opposing team can, then yeah, if I'm an NBA player, I'm going to be like, what the fuck is this bullshit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be like, that sounds like some dumb shit to me. Like, then it's not even my thing is like, a lot of these arguments, I feel like don't fully stem in the aspect of getting the vaccine, but the aspect of like, where's the logic? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And in that case, there's no fucking logic behind it. So if I'm Andrew Wiggins, I'm like, wait, so an unvaccinated player can play against us, but I can't play on my team? Like, what the fuck? I'm gonna keep fighting for this, because what the fuck? Like, that's some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying?
I think they even asked him about, you know, like, how do you feel about losing this much and much, you know, each game? And he told him, he was like, you know, that's my problem. Like, let me worry about it. You know, doesn't even make sense why you're asking it, you know, so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just don't think that it's just like, I have no problem with them not wanting to share this with the fucking media. You know what I'm saying?
Me neither.
Like, they could silently go get vaccinated and be good for the start of the season, and it's really a non-story and a non-issue. But it's y'all that are just like continuously to chase this shit, and like, to me, it's just more like, it's just more bullshit. Because now at the fucking whatever, like, upcoming of the season, now we gotta like do this whole like vaccinated versus unvaccinated NBA players and all this type of shit, and it just leads to the overall unvaccinated to vaccinated, like,
and
debate.
You already know the media, they're going to try to spin it in a way to where every type of question they're going to ask to either an unvaccinated or vaccinated player, doesn't matter what game, what they're talking about, some type of question like that is going to come up. Man, they're going to try to steer it a certain way, you know, and
I'm just like, fam, I'm over that. But at the same time, too, like, some of you players, dog, fam, stop talking. Like, I don't know how else to say that, but like, fam, just like, y'all aren't even fucking like talking about some shit that like has any sort of like fact or citation or nothing behind it. And I'm specifically like there was like a whole aspect during Bradley Beal's presser where he's like going against the vaccine, and I'm like, fam, what are we doing right now? Bruh, he was literally like, oh, so you could still catch COVID with the vaccine, right? Okay, then. Ha. Like, gotcha. Like, doing, like, that type of shit. Like, not saying gotcha, but he's like, oh, so you could still do that? Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. And it's like, bruh,
why?
Do you know what a vaccine is?
I'll tell you
do you know
this,
what the
dog.
Definition of a vaccine is? Like,
him and his lady are perfect for each other, dog, because they both be wilding as fuck when it comes to like talking or engaging with the public media, you know, or like, yo, where is all this like hype coming from? Like, damn, my guy, you coming in hot. Like,
I remember when he went at Kent Bazemore last season.
Bruh, that's what I'm saying.
4 straight tweets.
Him and his wife went off. I was like, yo, I have never seen such hostility over some little like harmless ass shit like that.
Kent Bazemore got you fucked up right now.
Kent Bazemore got punked like fuck, but damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was uncalled for. That shit was like, whoa, like, why did you pick on him? Like,
for real,
like, so random.
But yeah, he was just saying some shit like that, like, oh, like, you could still catch it if you get it, so why would I get it? Like, oh, what does it do? Prevents you from going to the hospital? Nah, I'm good. And I'm like, fam, what? Like, imagine if we use that same logic that you talking about right now for everything. Like, oh, like, seatbelts prevent you from dying in a car crash. It's cool. Like, I'll just rock without a seatbelt and just like, you know, run it. You know, like, there's so many preventative measures that you take throughout your life. This is another preventative measure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you got to get sick and you got to go to the hospital, and now the hospital's like, yo, we don't have room for you. Like, I know you need a ventilator and shit, but like, we don't got room for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is not no shit to like advocate for you to get a vaccine. None of that shit. Bruh, do what you need to do. Like, make your decisions and all that type of shit. But don't be out here like, oh, you could still catch it with the vaccine. Yes, fam. A vaccine is not a cure. Like, there's literal definitions to these words, fam. So like, if you're going to be on some like, oh, but you could still catch it and you can still spread it. Yes, fam. Like, that was never off the table. The reason why we're trying to get everybody to do it is so like this shit just slowly disappears. Like, this shit can stop entering our body. The only way that we can still catch it is if they're unvaccinated people or vaccinated people that catch it. But most likely, if you're vaccinated, the only way you're going to catch it is from another unvaccinated person. You know what I'm saying?
And like, I think they said something about
the little string is going to lead back to an unvaccinated person spreading it to a vaccinated person, even if that goes to another vaccinated person.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but
you know
aren't they saying that it spreads and like mutates like through unvaccinated people, and that's kind of how like the Delta variant and other variants are coming up?
Yeah, I mean that was definitely another aspect is like, yo, like the longer we like pretty much keep this shit around and
it's for sure going to keep mutating. I mean, all viruses evolve.
It's going to mutate and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, your antibodies are going to go after it, but then it might mutate to like go after your antibodies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it's like the longer you keep this shit around, yeah, it's going to mutate into different shit and everything like that. So the whole point of the vaccine of like trying to get to herd immunity is to essentially be like, yo, the more people that have a vaccine, the less chance we have of like people having this shit and this mutating into other things that, you know, goes out of control again and shit like that. And like, mind you, fam, I'm not a scientist. Duke, I don't think you a scientist. If you are,
I was studying to be, but I didn't finish. No.
So, like, we not scientists, we not doctors, and nothing like that. But there are some very simple and basic, like, ideologies behind this that's very easy to grab. And I get that we're in this, like, I don't know, like society where fucking like there's so much information out there and like everybody can grab information from different places and everybody feels a need to kind of come up with their own narrative and perception and all that type of shit. And for whatever reason, I feel like we're at a point and this may be an even broader topic, but like we're at a point where it's almost like people are trying to like debunk facts. And it's like
everyone's trying to be woke. Everyone's
facts?
Trying to be the first man ahead. They're trying to be the first one, like
everybody first feels like everybody wants to feel like they're the first ones to know something. They got some exclusive information.
It really is a thing. Like being the first one to know something really is like a status. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm like, bruh, you don't know no exclusive information. Like, who's your insider? Like, come on, bruh.
Like, what are we who doing gives a fuck about your 5 minutes of fame? You feel me? Like,
what are we doing here? Because if we're really gonna do this, there's a lot of shit that like people have posted that have been debunked with the quickest of Google searches. Like with the quickest of Google searches, all you have to do was one Google search. I could debunk your whole shit. So it's like, what are we really doing here? But yeah, I mean, this whole, as far as the NBA goes, like, I hope they figure it out. Whatever the players need to do, cool. But hey, I did see another stat that was like 90% of the NBA players are vaccinated. So that's also a win. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's also a win. And as far as these other players, it's just, it's up to them to figure it out, cities to figure it out, and mandates and all this type of shit. And yeah, I mean, I don't
know. With being the NBA, like just with the way the NBA is, I have pretty big confidence that it will get resolved, and most things will kind of play themselves out for, in the right way. Somehow, the players, I think, or hopefully, will kind of get, they'll be able to come to some type of compromise, to where they can get a little bit of what they want, and maybe the league will get, kind of what they want, or these mandates. And the NBA has a knack, of kind of, like I said, working things out with their players.
Listen, I don't want to bring it back to fucking Braun in any way and no shit like that. But if I'm also in the NBA, I'm like, yo, like, for the most part, I mean, latest that we've gone is Braun's not vaccinated, but that's not a story. That's not anything because LA doesn't have that mandate. You know what I'm saying? But nobody's necessarily like, I haven't heard anything from LA as far as vaccines go and shit like that, right? And like those are big players in the league too. Because I mean, if you're thinking about Braun, like, a lot of players look to that. But the reason I bring him up is because bruh technically should have fucking missed games in the fucking as early as the play-in games, I think. Like, he was technically, like, if we're doing health and safety protocols and all the shit that the NBA was doing, technically he was supposed to miss that game against fucking the Warriors.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if this is the same game, but I think the official explanation was that he was at an event that was fully vaccinated and, like, sanctioned by, like, the NBA. Like, they had approved him to, like, go to it or some shit like that. The event that was like, that's the official explanation that we got.
Going
back to the vaccination shit. I just want to point out, Rob Pelinka did say last week, he came out and said the Lakers by the start of the season will be 100% vaccinated. So I'm rocking with that shit. I'm rocking with that shit.
Rob Pelinka said Kobe had dinner with Heath Ledger after he was already dead, fam. We not believing what Rob Pelinka says, fam. We're not believing what Rob Pelinka says. That dude will say anything to stay
Rob Lowe looking like shit.
But that dude will say anything to be on the good side of his audience.
Might be right.
Bro.
You might be right. That's all I'm gonna say. You might be right.
No, but
I will say this. I do think LeBron will be vaccinated at the start of the year.
The NBA approved a random kickback with Drake right before the playing game. Like,
LeBron got that type of pull, dog.
That's what the official explanation is. Like, okay, everybody else was vaccinated. LeBron's not vaccinated, but it's cool. We'll bend the rules, like whatever type of shit. And it's like, fam, you technically, like, listen, I'm all for the exception made for Braun. Let me make that clear. I'm all for the exception that was made, and am very happy that he played in that game, all that type of shit, even though it was against my squad. But all I'm saying is, if I'm looking at it from the sense of logic and like what they're doing with all these other players and everything like that, yeah, he should have missed that game. So if I am someone like an Andrew Wiggins that is not necessarily on a LeBron superstar type level that I can do whatever the fuck I want in the NBA, yeah, I'm gonna be a little like, fam, like, why do I have to do this shit? Like, you don't gotta do this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
All I'm gonna
like,
say is that life would say, fucking play like LeBron, and then you'll get that pass, you know. But until then,
and
like,
listen,
hey, dog.
And you know what? I'm fully with you on that. I'm fully with you on
when
that.
You start playing at that level, dog.
Yeah, because you get certain privileges when you come up, and that's just it is what it is.
And that's not under any of our control. That's just the way shit it is.
Yeah, that's life, bro.
That's the way shit is.
Keep it a bug. That's life. Like that. Hey, for all y'all out there, that's a real life lesson. Like I know shit. You're gonna complain about shit, but
learn to know that life is unfair. Like that's just it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and learn to know that shit.
And the way you win is if you have leverage. And LeBron got a whole lot of leverage.
Once you figure out it's unfair, you get on the right side.
Exactly. There was no way the NBA was not going to have LeBron James play against Steph Curry in a one-game fucking play-in elimination.
And that shit was
There was
epic.
No way that shit was not going to happen. That was a classic.
I was at that game. I can tell you guys, it was
game.
Amazing.
That was bro. You were at that game.
I got a video of LeBron hitting that shot and everything. Yep.
But fuck his soft ass with the I saw 3 rims. The eye head ass.
He's so corny for that.
Shut the fuck up.
I just want you guys to know, a lot of us Lakers fans that have been around since before LeBron, we know how corny he is. All right, we know. We hate it just as much as the rest of you guys do in the NBA.
Kobe would have been like, it's what I do. The fuck?
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. The way Kobe
job's not finished. Job's not finished.
Kobe would have done it, stared off, and went to go like ice his feet and fucking go to sleep after that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the job well done for him. But you know, with LeBron always has to be some big story. So he's a Hollywood star.
It is what it is. But yeah. Getting into that. We've been talking sports for some time, but we do got to do this just because Ho-ass ESPN put out a list. They put out a fucking player rankings list. And I think just before we get into our list, I'm going to put it like this. I think in general, we've just come to a point where with NBA media, and especially ESPN's been doing this for a long time, and I think we've noticed it for a long time.
I was going to say something, but just in case I get a career offer, never mind.
What?
I was gonna say some shit, but I was like, in case I somehow get a career there at some point, I ain't gonna say no.
We not gonna need nothing from ESPN. We gonna have our own shit on this fucking podcast.
Well, in that case, fucking ESPN and their fucking opinions.
Yeah.
You feel me, y'all niggas? Man, like y'all are whack as fuck with your fucking opinions.
Listen. From all the exposing from this summer, right? That whole Rachel Nichols shit, they kicked her off. To the Paul Pierce shit and him being like, I didn't really fuck with it.
Paul Pierce was trying to get right. That's all he was trying to do. They would have let my man live his life.
He says something that I feel like a lot of us have felt for a very long time, that ESPN just talks way too much about Bron, and they make you talk too much about Bron. You know what I'm saying?
I was really surprised when he said that, but I'm happy that he did because I feel like, we all know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so, damn, man, it's so annoying.
It's so obvious.
It's so crazy because you see the type of influence that it has on the rest of social media. For example, Bleacher Report, Sports Center, ESPN, even House of Highlights sometimes. Like, damn, man, like we get tired of seeing LeBron, like especially when it comes to Sports Center and ESPN.
Like, we should be propping up these young players.
Bruh,
like if
there is a post for everything he does. If he fucking smiles, if he fucking like says a joke with Anthony Davis, it's on fucking camera. It's a story. You're like, damn, bro, I don't give a fuck about that. You know, like, come on, dog, like.
100%. And like, I'm kind of like, if we compare it slightly to like NFL media, NFL does a way better job of hyping up its young players.
Definitely.
Like hyping up Mahomes, hyping up Lamar Jackson, like hyping up these younger fucking quarterbacks, these younger receivers and all this type of shit. And they still have Tom Brady playing, who's technically the GOAT. So it's like, they still have him and they still highlight him, but that doesn't take away from the shit that they do for other players. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. With ESPN, I'm just kind of like, and NBA media as a whole, I'm at a point where I think y'all care more about trying to get a reaction out of the audience and get a reaction out of people than they are of like actually giving solid and good basketball information and knowledge. And I say that especially because I saw the fucking ESPN ranking list. And we not gonna get like I won't get into all the players and all the shit that they had wrong and whatnot and all that type of shit. But all I'm gonna say is they put Luka above Steph, right? They put Luka above Steph, and then like posted that shit, and then NBA on ESPN Twitter or some shit put the little Arthur emoji, the punching emoji, and was like Warriors fans right now. And that to me, more so than anything, they're trying to troll, right? But to me, that showed your cards in the sense that y'all made this list. Like, y'all did this specifically to try and, like, get a reaction out of Warriors fans. Try and trigger Warriors fans in the sense of, like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that, yeah.
To me, like, that post said that because it's like, y'all are mad disingenuous. Like, y'all know for a fact that Luka is not above Steph. Like, let's keep it a buck. Luka is not above Steph in nothing. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you wanna say. Luka is not above Steph in anything.
I think the way they're trying to see it right now is they're thinking that, you know, his potential where he's going to be at is going to rival where Steph is at, if not more. And that's what they're thinking, you know, because I think their basis would be, you know, the dude is like, he'll score 40 and average like a fucking triple-double in certain series or like over a certain stretch, you know, and like he does lead his team to success.
What does that lead to? You know what I'm saying? My thing is this, like, we're going based off of last season and projecting them for this season, right? Like, that's what their player rankings is about, is that we're projecting from last season and we're going into this season. Steph was literally the scoring leader last season and finished top 3 in MVP. And you're telling me that Luka is above Steph Curry going into this season?
Yeah, it's their version of a bold take, basically. A hot take.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's one of those takes that is just like, you did this to get a reaction out of people. Because you're going to have all the Mavs fans that are like, yeah, I told y'all, Luka. You know they fucking love Luka in Dallas. You know, Mavs fans be eating that shit up. Yeah, Luka is the greatest player in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Luka's the greatest player in the NBA. He's top 3 right now. All this bullshit, right? But, like, after I saw that Arthur emoji, I was very much like, y'all specifically did this because of you're trying to trigger Warriors fans, and that continues to like fuel my narrative of just like, fam, the damn near 5-6 year stretch that Steph Curry has had, like, has he been featured on ESPN, all this type of shit? Sure, but like the type of narrative that you could have had around him, like, fam, he completely surpassed all of his peers at the point guard
position. They basically switched that narrative.
Not another
on
point guard.
Like, it really is.
You know, like,
whenever he's going off, it's like, oh, he's the best shooter in the world, like greatest point guard right now. But like when he's off, he's like, oh, Steph is not playing up to his ability. Is he a top 5 point guard? Like shit like that. They really do switch it on and off, bro. That shit's like
the only person that has always given Steph his credit is fucking SVP. Scott Van Pelt. He be having the dopest. Right, he be having the dopest Steph like segments. Other than that, all the rest of them are hoes. But anyways, getting into this fucking player ranking shit, we don't need to talk about ESPN anymore and all that type of shit. But I'm gonna go in order. I'm gonna go from 15 and down to 1. Okay. Because in 1, I feel like there's biases and unbiases type of shit, right? Okay. So at 15, I got Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Going into next season. I think that bruh has just like, obviously, like, bruh's nice. Like, he's a nice hooper. Like, he could score. Definitely want to see him.
His X factor is starting to come out finally.
Yeah, and I think what he really needs to solidify and like get into this season, and I think he can be a top 15 player this season, is really just coming together with like the success that he had early on in his career. Because like when he was a rookie, they were in the fucking conference finals. You know what I'm saying? And like they haven't been back in that type of playoff success for since then, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for him, it's just about like taking that next step and really being like, yo, I know what I can do out on the court. I know how I can score. I know like all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And really just like consistently executing on his game every game this season and very much focusing on that, you know, what the success is going to be. Obviously, I think Jaylen Brown is coming back this season. I don't know when he's coming back, but like, I know last season, like obviously not having Jaylen Brown in the playoffs was a big ass deal because, like, I mean that's their number 2 guy.
Hey,
right?
you know, but Tatum held his own, like for being the single star.
He held his own
against the Nets.
He held his
really
own.
Did.
Like he held his own, and like he could score on anybody. Like bro, he was taking fadeaways over KD.
He was out here scoring 50
shit, you know
and
what I'm saying? Yeah, like he's nice. He's really like that. So I think this season he keeps it consistent. Like he's for sure gonna be right there in that top 15. I got Bradley Beal at 14. Just because obviously like they went to the playoffs. And you know, he was second in scoring. He's definitely like able to pull up, you know, he's able to put up points, right? He's able to put points on the board and that type of thing. The only thing with him has always been that, like, you know, what does all that scoring lead to?
I was just going to say that, like it really hasn't amounted to shit in his career. Like
we haven't really seen too much success for the Wizards. And so the only reason why I'm putting him at 14 is definitely like, yo, you came off the playoffs last year. You should definitely be gunning for another playoff spot. You have, like, y'all made some moves. Y'all got Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, y'all got some other players. Like, figure it out. And I mean, I can't leave off a guy that damn near averaged 30 last year off of the top 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not easy to do, regardless of whether you're getting your points or not. Like,
but remember, this is going in for next year. Remember, this is going in for next year still too. So some people might have regression, some people might improve.
Yeah. This is definitely going into next year, but I think like because he's averaged 30 for what, like 2 seasons in a row now. So I don't think that he's going to drop off that much. Even if he's averaging like 28, 29 next year, like that's still a top player in the league. You know, like that's not some easy thing to do in the league. So also I'll for sure give it to him there. At 13, I got PG, Paul George. I definitely think he shed that playoff P type of, you know,
finally
type of he shed that type of curse off of him. There's definitely some aspects of in the playoffs where it's like he didn't fully show up, but it's like he was also carrying his team without Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're bound to have like an off night. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting up 5-6 games in a row in the playoffs of like 25 plus, 30 plus, like you are bound to have an off night. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of is what it is. It just happens to be sometimes that it's bad timing. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think like him being back into the number 1 option this season and having to kind of carry that Clippers team, I think it's going to do well for him. And we might actually really see more like Indiana PG back for like a consistent full season. And also like his numbers from the past like few seasons have actually really been good. Like he do be shooting like 40% from 3 and shit like that. So it's like it's no easy thing that he's doing. So I definitely put him in that 13. I got Devin Booker at 12. I mean, damn. He was nice. He was nice last year. 12. Like he was nice all last year. He averaged 20. He averaged 26 from the season. He got playoff experiences under his belt. He got a 40-point triple-double in the conference finals, back-to-back 40-point games in the finals. Like whatever you want to say about like what he did in the finals, what he did in the playoffs, like he was the best player on the Suns. All you CP3 fucks, I don't want to hear no shit. He was the best player on the Suns all year last year and was the best player on the Suns all through the playoffs. When CP3 was missing games because of like wrist injuries and neck injuries and health and protocol, safety, all that bullshit through the playoffs, who held him down? It was Devin Booker, and they won games. So if anything, CP3 let Booker down in the fucking finals because there's no way that you lose. There's no way that you should lose when your shooting guard puts up 40 points. If you are a supposed top 5 point guard of all time and your shooting guard puts up 40, you shouldn't lose that game, let alone 2.
Suns fans, what do you guys think? CP3 fans, you guys agree or disagree? Curious to know.
Listen, and the funniest part is ESPN had CP3 at 13. They had CP3 at 13 and they had Book at 15. And I was like, there's no way CP3 is in my top 15 for next season. There's no way I'm putting a fucking 36, 37-year-old point guard in top 15. There's so many players that I can think of. Like, fam, come on, bro. Like, don't do this shit. You know Book is better. Like, Book is better. Like, it's just plain and simple, fam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have many players in this league averaging fucking 26 fucking points and, like, I think he's averaging like 26 and 7 or 26 and 6, whatever it is. Like, nah. And at 11, I got Kyrie. I mean, people be sleep on Kyrie, bruh. People be sleep. That's all I could really say. I don't know if it's the perception, all this other shit that he got going on. People are like, oh, he's sitting out games. He's doing this. He's doing that. Listen, he put up 25 plus last year and he shot 50, 40, 90. There's not many players in NBA history that have done that. And he's coming off of that efficient of a season, coming back from injury and all that type of shit. Yeah, he's at 11. He's not out of the top 15. Like Kyrie is a top 15
I agree.
player.
I definitely agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, fam, he's 25 plus on 50, 40, 90 and 70 assists is a fucking good ass player. I don't give a fuck what y'all try and say and all that type of shit. At 10, I got Luka. Mavs fans might be mad at me. You know, we've heard all this shit through the series last year, all this shit. Luka's top 3, Luka's this, Luka's that. Listen, dog. If you are a top 3 player in the league and you are up 2-0 in a playoff series going home, you don't give up both of those games. And then at the same time, you go back on the road, go up 3-2, and you're going back home for a game 6. If you're a top 3 player, you don't lose that game. I don't want to hear whatever excuses. Mavs didn't have this. Mavs didn't have that. Porzingis was trash. All that type. Figure it out.
Hey,
you are a top 3 player. You're up in the series.
All I'm gonna say real quick is if you're a 73 or what is it, 72 and 10, 73 and 19, and you're up 3-1 in the finals, you shouldn't lose that series, dog. But shit happens.
And I'm with you. And I'm with you. Shit happens. But if we really want to go into that series, we could talk about we could talk about the Draymond suspension. We could talk about the Steph MCL. To me, it seems like everybody gets an injury excuse except for Steph, and that's cool. People talking about Harden's hamstring and LeBron's ankle sprain and all that type of shit.
All the time,
but there was no energy for Steph literally spraining his MCL in that full playoff run and still being available for the finals. Like, anyways, a 73-9 team should not lose 3-1. But like, listen,
I had to throw that out there. I'm sorry.
No, for sure. But as Andre Iguodala said, there was external factors at play, and when you have those external factors at play, they can very much lead to a historic comeback.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But yeah, bro, you can't to me have Luka top 3 if he didn't get out of that Clippers series. Like, they figured out a way to slow him down. And you could talk all this shit about Luka's numbers and all that type of shit. You know what stat really sticks out to me about Luka in the playoffs last year? In the fourth quarter of most of those games, he was ass. He was really, really good in the first quarter, really, really good in the second quarter, and as the game went on, he progressed to get
Interesting.
There was one game where it was
you wonder if it's fatigue or if it's just, not being clutch.
I think it's fatigue, and I think it's also his style of play. I think it's his style of play in the sense that, like, he has the ball so fucking much, and a lot of his assists come off of, like, close to the end of the shot clock and, like, shit like that. Like, oh, I'm just going to pass it out. Like, I have all this attention on me. I'm just going to pass it out. And he's just expecting guys to be in rhythm. But it's like, you can't expect your guys to be in rhythm if you're not helping them be in rhythm for the full game. You know what I'm saying? Like, fam, like, what's his name? Tim Hardaway Jr. was balling in the first 2 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, these players were doing well. So don't tell me that Luka didn't have help. But when it came down to closer to the end of the game, like, bruh's just tired as shit because he's just been ball dominant all fucking game. Like, either he's the one passing or he's the one driving or he just is dribbling the whole time, all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of just like, you feel me? So yeah, Luka 10. I got Harden at 9 because Luka's still not better than Harden. And when Harden is healthy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro be putting up numbers.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not putting Luka over Harden. Harden plays Luka's game better than Luka does. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, they're pretty similar in that sense.
Yeah.
I got AD at 8. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, just in the sense of if he's not injured, he is one of the best in the game, and especially one of the best big men in the game. Bro just needs to suck it up and fucking play 5. I got Dame at 7. I think
that's pretty self-explanatory.
We know Dame. Like, he be going crazy. He really be doing his thing. Like, the only thing is like, yo, Portland, y'all got to figure it out. Like, it's time to get some pieces around my guy. But, like, I don't see him having a drop off, and, like, they're still gonna make the playoffs and all that type of shit. But, like, damn, like, y'all need to figure it out as a team for sure. I got Embiid at number 6. He's coming off of a year where he also finished top 3 in MVP. Played through a torn meniscus in the playoffs, and I think he just comes back. Really just kind of better and polished and really just kind of builds on the momentum of what last season was. Jokic, same thing. He was the MVP this year. He's going to have to deal with no Jamal Murray, obviously, for most of the season. But he was able to do that through the end of the season and even get through a whole playoff series without him. They also, they'll have another year with Aaron Gordon now. They got Michael Porter Jr. They just extended. So I think he's going to be looking to build off of his MVP season as well.
Definitely.
At number 4, I got Braun. Listen, LeBron is great. LeBron is an amazing player, but going into his 19th fucking year 19 and all this type of shit, I just can't have him above certain players. Like, we're not living in that era anymore where it's like, oh, LeBron could go to any team and take him to the playoffs and all that. Like, he doesn't need a team around him. Like, let's not pretend that he doesn't need a team around him. Like, we're not gonna have him do the full, load and all that type of shit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, guys. We're reaching the end, where LeBron,
and that's not a bad thing.
LeBron is no longer doing, his 45-point games and 15 rebound, 8 assists type of
and
game. He may or may not do them once here and there, but
he might have a couple.
It's not like it was before, guys.
Yeah, as far as a consistent basis, like, it just is what it is. And to be top 4 player in the league in year 19,
that's amazing. That is amazing.
So don't think that this is some sort of diss. Yeah. This is not a diss, but it's just like, there's other players that, like, if we're keeping it a buck, I would just much rather have on my team. And now we get into the top 3. And for me, the top 3 is a little bit interchangeable. I have, I think, a biased and an unbiased version. If I do my biased version first, it's Giannis at number 3, KD at number 2, and Steph at number 1. Obviously, I'm a Warriors fan. Steph is coming off an incredible season. He was just a scoring leader, finished top 3 in MVP. He could have got an MVP this year if they were just a little bit higher. I know some people would be like, he hasn't made the playoffs. He hasn't done this. Like, fam, even in those play-in games, he damn near averaged 40 in those play-in games. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason my argument for that is just because, like, we're holding him to a standard that no players in the past have had to adhere to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what these past teams would have been if they had to go through a play-in tournament. But at the end of the day, he was an 8th seed. So technically, in any other season, that's a playoff spot. But unfortunately, for now, and by all means, like, I'm here for the play-in tournaments. I think they're sick. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to use that as no type of an excuse. Like, he should have won those games, all that type of thing, right? But, like, I mean, we're finishing off the season with 8 players, all that type of thing. But if I'm looking at from an individual player, fam, there is no other player in the league that is getting triple teamed at half court because they are scared to death of this man shooting. And I'm going to take that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take that on my team every single time. Like, bruh kept him in both of those play-in games.
Mm-hmm.
KD, I think, is pretty self-explanatory at number 2. Like, bruh was like, he had amazing games against Milwaukee. Obviously, team was injured. He did what he could. He got help from where he could get help from. They just weren't like, they were like this close type of thing, right? And I think KD is just at a level where, like, watching him come off that Achilles and be that polished and be that just back in his game, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was pretty surprised. You know what I'm saying? Especially coming off the injury that he came off of. So, yeah, I think he capitalizes off of that and just, like, continues to just have, like, that very, very just, like, polished. I'm a vet at this point. Like, I think he's, like, on year 15 or some shit like that. Like, he's very much just solidified, and we know what we're getting from KD. You know what I'm saying? You want that on your team. Like, bruh is fucking damn near 7 feet and will pull threes all up in your face. And obviously Giannis, self-explanatory there as well. Like, bruh literally ended his season with 50 points and a dub in the finals. Like, he's coming off a championship. He's coming off of doing incredible things in the finals. And all this shit about him not having a bag, him not being able to do this or that. Fam, there's not a lot of players putting up 50 points in an NBA finals game, let alone that being their final game. The elimination game. So put some respect there, and we gone. And yeah, I only say it's interchangeable because unbiased, I might go KD, Giannis, and Steph, and put Steph at that number 3, and just put KD and Giannis above him, just because of the postseason achievements from last season and bringing that into this season. But yeah, that's my top 15. I got honorable mentions of for sure Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, I think those would kind of be my like kind of main 2 like honorable mentions, because Trae Young did his fucking thing last year, going to the conference finals, having a solid playoff run, and really just building off of a really good season. And because he's that young, I think he's for sure gonna build off of that.
I agree, Doug. I think my list is definitely similar to yours. I think there's a few differences. I didn't get a chance to necessarily organize them in order, but I definitely have my list of 15. And I know for a fact, I'm actually going to start from the top down, just because my top 4 are the only ones that I have pretty solidified. I got Steph at 1. I think it's pretty self-explanatory to anyone that really watches basketball well. The dude's been doing it since like 2015. He is the greatest shooter we've ever seen, and he continues to do it with or without his teammates. We finally got a chance to see him really let loose without his teammates this year. And we saw, just the type of level that he can really play at. There's no one else in the game that I think warrants that type of attention and focus from a defensive standpoint when it comes to legit the whole 60-minute game, of trying to cover a player. I mean, you've seen the memes and pictures, there's times where they'll put 4 people on him, and I don't think anyone else, not even Kevin Durant, will warrant that type of attention, at a full 60-minute standpoint. And I think just that type of impact, you can't overlook it. When they're both on fire, because the number 2 that I have is KD. I think when they're both on fire, who do you really want more on your team, Steph or KD? And you could really make the argument for both. But we've seen what Steph can do and where he can do it from, and the times that he can do it, how crazy he can do it.
I think the only difference with their on fire shit is like Steph is probably hitting more threes. And because
at the end of the day, that's more points. At the end of the day, that's more points.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
it's not only that. Like, he's hitting those threes off of, like screens, off of crossovers. He's hitting them with like people in his face. He's hitting them after running around the court like 3 different times, like just trying to get away from someone. Like, he's hitting them from damn near like 40 feet away, like, not saying that KD's not doing that. He's just not doing it as often, I think, and as heavily contested.
And I mean, KD has such a good mid-range game too. You know what I'm saying?
KD's also a fucking tarantula, so like he fucking reaches over everyone.
You feel me? Like getting that shot over on a mid-range and just it's so silky smooth, just goes in. Like, bro, he be making like that one game where he went off for like 50 against Milwaukee. Like he's
stroking.
He was just getting.
He's stroking. That's one of those fire games. Yeah.
Pause. Hey, pause.
Pause. Yeah.
But
I wasn't thinking about all that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely got them 2 up top, and I think you could put Giannis in there. I can see how some people will put Giannis in there after this year, but from a full season standpoint, I think it's really hard to kind of beat them 2. Giannis definitely takes my 3rd spot. I think, kind of like you were saying, any doubt, any negative statements that have been said about him before, about him not having a bag, him not being clutch, not being able to take him to the promised land, not being able to lead that team there with the type of player that he is. In today's age, you would think you need a really good scorer, really good shooter, rather than the type of player that he is, but I think he silenced all those critics, definitely. He had just enough support in Middleton and the other guys. And when it came up most, I mean, he really put his foot on the pedal, so I think you really do got to put respect on his name. He has definitely earned his spot in that different tier now, of elite players. And I really don't think he takes his foot off the pedal at this point. I think at this point, it's kind of just boosted his confidence even more. And we'll see a lot more out of him, I think. After that, I got LeBron at number 4. Dude's going to go down as one of the best players of all time. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's still doing things at this level in his 19th year. Just based on that, you got to put the dude, pretty high up there. But then you also put the fact that he's still just one of the best overall out of the players, whether young or old. There's been a lot of talk about, he's losing weight and trying to get into a much better condition this year to try to bring a younger form out of him. But let's be real. He's been trying to say that for like 3 years now. So I don't know, how much is going to come out of him. He definitely still has a lot left in the tank. But I think he's definitely accepted a role now, of knowing that he doesn't need to do it all anymore. There's a lot more people that can handle some of the load for him. And they're going to be expected to, so good luck, Lakers. At number 5.
Need that. Yeah, AD.
At number 5, this is where it starts getting like pretty, disorganized. I don't know if necessarily I would have him at number 5, but he's definitely one of the ones that I thought about was Jokic. Just coming off the fact that he came off with his MVP season. He averaged, a triple-double or something like that, or damn near?
Close to it. I think it was like something like 24, 8, and 7, or
the fact that he averages those type of numbers at the position that he plays and the type of scheme that they play in is amazing. And if you look at it, a little bit deeper and just in like his efficiency numbers and shit like that, and the type of impact that he has on the floor, their plus minus, all that type of shit, he has a huge impact. He is definitely a difference maker. Even when he's not necessarily directly on the ball, he's there and he's making some type of impact on the play. So.
He be having some saucy passes.
Super saucy passes. That European type of swag. They got some crazy IQ. Next on my list, again, not necessarily in order, James Harden. I think it's impossible to leave this guy off the top 15 when he's playing at such a high level. The dude is literally his own little cheat code. He has moves, types of shots, and a different type of game that you really don't see in anyone else. He plays it at a different level. and all the, videos and rumors and, word that we get from him is that he's been working on it a lot more and he's coming out stronger, which is crazy, because he already plays at that type of level.
He already plays at a high level.
He's now on Brooklyn. I'm just hoping he can stay fully healthy, so we can get a full season out of him. But I think he's hungry. I think he's at the point, where he's sick of the bullshit. He's sick of the roles. I think he really is ready to kind of accept his role on a team that's ready to win a chip, and it's exciting. You know what I'm saying? I think you kind of saw it a little bit last year from him finally in the playoffs. Now that he's on a different team, so we hope I hope they get to see the rest of it for sure. Right after him, I got his teammate in Kyrie. Kyrie, I think him, Steph, and Damian Lillard are probably the top 3 point guards that they're at such an elite level that they literally just have their own signature to their game where it is impossible to, emulate, or it is impossible to try to copy. There's literally just no one else that does it like them. Steph, obviously, with the way he shoots. I think Dame with just his overall aggressiveness and the creativeness of some of the type of shots and, scoring that he does. But Kyrie, Jesus Christ, when it comes to his playmaking or when it comes to his handles, just his overall vision on the court, there ain't no one else like that dude. The dude literally looks nasty. He looks like a little magician or like a little wizard out there on the court. Like just the way he moves.
Yeah, he be getting nasty with it.
The way he moves, man, there ain't no one that moves like him. No one that has fucking handles and like controls his body the way he does on the court. So the fact that, he can turn it up and score 50, 60 on any night, he can do it, clutch, last minute type of shit. You got to put him up there. If it wasn't for Steph being the greatest shooter of all time, he could arguably be one of the best point guards in the league. So,
Steph got handled too.
Oh yeah, Steph got for sure. I think you got to give Kyrie a little bit of the edge when it comes to handles, but Steph for sure got handles too. I got AD on my list. Dude is made of glass, but when he's not broken, he's fucking raw. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's definitely one of the best power forwards and big men in the whole game. He's one of the few big men that can score just as much as any other position. And I think we've seen it plenty of times, obviously, when he was from New Orleans, too. Dude was scoring 40 plus all the damn time as long as he had someone to feed him the ball, So, hoping he stays healthy. That's the big caveat with him, is just,
that's all that
stay healthy,
That's all it is with him is just health.
Yeah, that's really all it is with him, But I think it was very evident last year in the type of impact he has on a team. We look like a completely different team when he's not on the floor, So it's like teams aren't even scared of us when he's not there. Teams just fucking dog our shit when he's not there. So
yeah.
Hopefully DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard can help that out a little bit this year, and I think AD will appreciate that, but definitely deserves to be in the top 15. I put Bradley Beal on here, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't want to because I feel like all of his scoring and playmaking ability out of most people in the league, it really has the least amount of impact out of most players. You see what he's been doing in Washington, and I think what kind of concerns me is I don't really see a drive for him to kind of get out of there, or to kind of want to win or to really be that hungry for it. It kind of almost seems to me, and I could be wrong, but I hope his wife don't come after me. But, it looks like, I don't know, like he's just comfortable kind of like being this 30-point scorer and like just getting paid off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really look like he's trying to join that winning team, that championship team, and accept, potentially a smaller role to try to win. And I don't like that. I'm like, I don't really feel like you could be truly gay if you're not really trying to play at that type of level. And again, I could be fully wrong. He could just be trying to, just win it with his team in Washington. He's obviously been there for a minute, but it's like, damn, dog. I think it's pretty obvious, like ain't nothing going on over there. Like you're not winning the chip anytime.
They're not making moves for you. Yeah.
Not at all, but nonetheless, like you were saying earlier, dude does score, around 30, if not more, continuously. He does stay healthy, a very large chunk of the season usually. So he's pretty consistent. It's very hard to argue against the numbers. Who else I got on my list? I put Paul George on here. He was kind of I had to think about it a little bit at first, but I think definitely after last year and kind of silencing all the critics after his playoff performances and finally showing that he's reached over that hump a little bit, and he's finally at that level, at least within himself, to where he knows how good he can play. He plays just as good as anyone else, honestly, when he's on the floor and when he's really feeling himself. When he starts getting hot, he can hit with most of them. You know what I'm saying? That are also hot. So we obviously start on the playoffs. I got Luka on here just because he really is a unique player as a point guard coming from Europe, as young as he is, and playing at the level that he does, averaging triple doubles, hitting all these game-winning shots, and really leading his team to the playoffs, because we know fucking Porzingis didn't do a goddamn thing. He's really showing out, and I think he's really making a stamp on the league. He's really making a name for himself. I think there's definitely some that are hyped on him. I think there's definitely some that are a little bit maybe, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell right now. They're either ahead of their time, or they're kind of just overshooting it. So it'll be left to seen. I don't think he can do it by himself, honestly. He's definitely going to need some. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think they're just crowning him a little too early, and it's just a little, you're gonna piss off some other fans by crowning him too early, because he hasn't necessarily earned that yet. Like, I need my guy to win a playoff series. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need that to be his next bucket list. Like, we got to start there, bro. Like, he puts up amazing numbers. But like, them numbers don't always lead to team success. And at the end of the day, like, that's what you want. So that's it, really. Just crowning a little too early.
Mm-hmm. What's it called? I also got Jason Tatum on my list. I think it's really hard to take him off the list. He kind of finally showed what I like to call the Kobe factor, where it almost looks like he knows when it's time to take over. He knows when it's time to say, give me the fucking ball and just let me fucking score. Let me take this shit over. And we finally saw it down the stretch of the season in some of these playoff games. He really showed out. And I think it was very pleasant to see that he finally got to that point, because last year I think some of us were starting to get a little concerned, that he wasn't maybe getting over that hump, but he's definitely silenced most of the critics after this season, I would think. Aside from Tatum, I got who else I got on my list? I got Joel Embiid. I think that one's honestly kind of a little bit self-explanatory. He's one of the top 2 or 3 centers in the whole league. Scores at an amazing ability, just the way a center really should, with his post-up moves, his inside game. His defense is great, inside. His IQ is great. I think he's a pretty good leader on his team. He does obviously bring success to the team and has a positive impact. So, dude can ball, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to centers and big man, I think it's really hard. If you got him on his team, I don't think you're really trading him for anyone, I guess is how you would say it,
yeah,
even if it's AD, I really don't think I'm trading him, if I got him. So,
he's definitely
I got
one of those
Dame
players.
on
and
here.
I mean, he can stretch all the way out to the perimeter too.
Yeah, definitely. I got Dame on here. He's like I was saying earlier, one of the top 3 elite point guards. Dude does some shit, where you're just like, what the fuck, He's like, bro, he'll shoot 60, on one night out of nowhere. He will shit in Paul George's face on one night. He'll shit on the Rockets' face. He'll shit in anyone's fucking face. It don't matter. It don't matter if it's from fucking 80 fucking feet away. You know what I'm saying? He be going off, dog. He really do. You got to put him on there. He needs to go to a different team already, but nonetheless, top 3 point guard. And then my last spot, I got it up for grabs between 3 players because I really couldn't decide. For me, it is a cross between Trae Young, Devin Booker, and Zion Williamson. And my explanation for all 3 is, you got Trae Young. we obviously see what he could do last year. He really came out of nowhere, but really showed everyone that he deserves to be at that top stage, especially in the playoffs. You know, he came up when it mattered most. Dude was dropping, 40-plus point games in Madison Square Garden and, telling him to shut up. So I love that shit. I think all that shit has boosted his confidence.
Bro,
I think it's going to put him at a higher level this year. Yeah, I love that shit. It was awesome. Devin Booker, you obviously saw what he did in the playoffs. I completely agree with Mons. He was the best player on the Suns. I think he was definitely a huge part of why they got to the finals to begin with. My guy was scoring. I think he obviously has his role on the team, and his role on the team is to put the fucking ball in the basket. You know what I'm saying? That's really what they just count on him to do. But he did his job well. You know what I'm saying? He's hit plenty of good game-winning shots. He's there when he needs to be. And I think this year we just see that, grow exponentially. And the last guy I had on here was Zion Williamson. He's a little bit of a sneaky entry into my list, only because I think we really got to see a few glimpses of just how dominant he can be once he really finds his groove down low. I mean, there was a few games where dude was going off for like 45, like damn near 20 rebounds, like almost like 10 assists type of shit. And I was like, yo, like you're a power forward and like you might shoot a three, like here and there, but for the most part, like you got an inside game, bro. Like your shit is like short mid-range shots or like inside or a lot of dunks, obviously, so I'm like, if you're scoring that much, like
he was really solid.
You're obviously doing something right.
Yeah.
He was hell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His inside game, like it's hard to stop that dude.
Really
solid.
So yeah,
I think with him being as young as he is, I think it's only going to get better, and especially with the team that they got going, it's a good young team. You got a lot of guys on there who were kind of thrown away and now are kind of finding their rhythm on the team, such as Ingram. So I definitely think he continues to improve. My honorable mentions would be I think you got to put I mean, it would definitely be the two that don't make it from the three I just said, but also I think it's hard to put Russell Westbrook not at least in an honorable mention, just because even if dude is not necessarily having the impact that other types of players are having, on teams right now, there's no denying dude is still averaging a triple double. I think like 3 years in a row now, and while some people might call it, some people
go
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as a Lakers fan, you're believing that he's at least a top 20 player, and you think that he's gonna be nice next year for y'all.
I'm saying he has the potential to be a top 20 player, yes. And
that's fair.
I don't know if I can say. I mean, I don't know if I can say he's going to be – I think he's going to be nice for us, but not in the way that everyone thinks. He's not going to be doing his 25, 12, and 11 type shit. There's just not enough room for it on the Lakers. Like when you got Anthony Davis and when you got LeBron there, and now you got some of these other, like key role player guys, there's literally just not going to be enough time with the ball in his hands to do all that. And he's going to need to accept that, like the dude got to learn, like, bro, you're not – number one, you're not even the number two option on this team anymore. Like you're really the number three, and that's for true. Playmaking. Like when it comes to shooting, bro, I don't even know if we can count you as a number three. Like you might be the number four. So
that's also true. You know what? I want to see him get away from the triple double shit. And don't get me wrong, I know. The triple-double shit takes effort, all these things, right? But I just want him to get away a little bit from, like, having to do all that, if you would, for a team, and very much trust in his guys like AD, like LeBron, that they can also get a rebound, and he could be the person that's catching the outlet pass, and maybe he's all the way down for a dunk or to finish at the rim or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just kind of I want to see if he gets out of that bag a little bit and like kind of has a different like swagger and play style to him. almost as like those younger like OKC days when he was with like KD and James Harden, and he wasn't necessarily the triple dub king, but like he'll go dunk at the rim, he'll go get layups, he'll hit mid-range shots, like he'll assist and all that type of shit. And so I want to see if like he can get away from that a little bit, just because, you know, I think that would be better for the Lakers.
I agree. I mean, it's definitely going to be a test to see, you know, how it all meshes together for sure, you know. But yeah, man, that's my top 15. You know, I think those two that don't make it from 15 and Russ, I think those are probably my honorable mentions, you know, for my list. Obviously, a lot of
fuck all that ESPN ranking shit.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of similarities in our list, but definitely some differences too. We would love to hear, you know, from you guys watching. I know for a fact you guys probably got your own, you know, tops of the list. You guys for sure got opinions on some of the things that we might have said, you know.
Put your top 15 in the comments.
Yeah,
put your top 15.
And if
I want to see it.
And if you don't got a top 15, just give me a top 5, because I think our top 5 is definitely where me and Mons, you know, we're pretty solid on who's who, you know. And there could be a lot of disagreements, you know. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys feel like KD is definitely number 1. I'm sure there's some of you guys that feel like Giannis is number 1.
Number 3.
For sure, there's people that got LeBron at number 1 still, you know.
Facts. You know,
I want to hear it. I want to hear the opinions. I want to hear the explanations. If it's LeBron, don't tell me that he's number 1 just because he's a GOAT, because then that tells me you don't watch fucking basketball, you know. So dude may or may not be in the conversation for GOAT. Does not mean he's the best player right now. And I think he'll even tell you that, you know. And if he doesn't, he's a cocky son of a, you know. So that's just the truth, you know what I'm saying? We keep it real. Yeah, man, that's our list, you know. So we definitely want to hear, you know, what you guys are hearing. Really quick, you know, before we take off for the night, we definitely gotta, you know, touch on this. So as you guys know, you know, this is definitely a podcast where we talk about our experiences and our travels. And luckily this week, you know, I get to go out to the beautiful island of Hawaii, you know, for a whole week, and I get to experience a few of the things they got there. You know, I've been to Hawaii before, you know, and I've been out there with my family, and it was cool, you know, but I really didn't do too much, if I'm being honest with you. I kind of just went to the beach a lot. I chilled by the hotel, you know, and I really just kind of drank a lot and just relaxed, you know, if I'm being honest with you. This time going around, you know, I'm going with a much bigger group, and I think this trip is definitely a lot more centered around experiences, events, you know, food, definitely, you know. Mons, I know you've been to Hawaii, so why don't you go ahead and, you know, put me on some game about some of the things I got to do out in Hawaii.
Yeah, I got you. So I got a chance to go out to Honolulu, I want to say in 2019, in the May of 2019. I spent like a week out there. I was originally only supposed to spend like 4 days or something with my fam, but my cousin was going early, and then we went out there. There's definitely a couple dope ass spots that you very much have to check out. I know you said you're renting a car, right?
Yeah, renting a little Jeep.
Gotta rent the Jeep. I got the Jeep out there too. That's a must. Definitely. I mean, one thing that you got to do if you're on that island and you're renting a car, as you are, definitely is drive the island, because it's pretty much like a circle. So you can kind of go all the way to North Shore and then like kind of go back and kind of see everything if you would. In North Shore, obviously. A lot of people have heard of it before, but if you haven't, Giovanni's Shrimp Truck is where the fuck it's at. Like, gotta pull up.
Definitely heard of
shrimp.
It. The garlic shrimp.
Shrimp. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, bruh. It's a must. And they got a couple cool like trucks around them as well. There was another truck that was like next to it that did like some drinks and shit like that. And I think they had like a drink and a pineapple and like all that type of shit, alcoholic, you know, which we get right. So you could definitely get on a level as you're enjoying that good ass shrimp too. And they got like a cool little park out there too. It's like this I think it's called Sharks Cove. And you can essentially at Sharks Cove like do some type of what's it called, snorkeling, but you can also kind of just go in there and chill, and especially if you kind of have like little kids and shit too, they have like a little area where it's pretty shallow type water, where you can kind of just go kick it and just, you know, vibe out and that sort of thing. And it's a cool little aquatic park. But definitely would recommend that.
I think there's a lagoon that's out there by what you're talking about that I'm going to try to check out. It has like very shallow waters, but I think you could take like kids and stuff. So I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It might be the same one, but yeah, that shit's called Sharks Cove. And there's a couple like little like, if you're just kind of driving along the street and shit too, there's a couple like private beaches and shit. And you can kind of just like see where you can pull up, and there might be like a little walkway to just kind of like go through and shit like that. I definitely, last time I was there, I found like a little private beach, because I'm not gonna lie, I went with my cousin, and like I tried snorkeling and like doing the whole shit of like putting on the equipment and like breathing underwater and all that type of shit. I'm gonna keep it a buck. That shit just was not fully for me. Like, just like the whole aspect.
I did that shit. I did it in Cabo one time, and yeah, it's not for me, dog. It's a lot harder than people make it seem. It's a lot harder.
Like the whole like emptying your ears and like, bruh, this dude got us in like this water, and it's like, all right, now you're gonna have to fucking like take off your shit and share it with somebody, because if you're in an emergency situation, this is what you're gonna have to do. And I'm like, yo, I'm freaking the fuck out. Like, I'm not with this shit. I don't want to be in an emergency situation 40 feet under the fucking water.
Yo.
So when I did it, I went with my cousin. I went with my cousin on day one. And like, we did the full, like, I put on the full gear and everything like that. But my thing was, I couldn't go past. So there's like this shit, right, with like the elevation and all this shit, where it's like, if you go past, I think it's past 15 feet or past 20 feet, like it's a different level, like on your ears, and you got to continue to like clear your ears. But the thing is like, if you don't clear your ears, like that shit could be like detrimental. Like you could like burst open like your eardrums and like shit like that by like not being able to do this, right? And like I wasn't able to clear my ears, so I was just in the range where I was like, I'm gonna stick to like the 1 to 15 feet, which is very much like the introduction baby ass. Like you could do this without the gear type of shit. Like you could be in 10 feet underwater and deep, like without fucking scuba gear. But like I was just like, I'm gonna stay within this little range, and like that shit was cool. I saw some turtles, I saw an octopus, like, you know, I still saw some shit. But yeah, I wasn't going deeper than that. And my cousin was like, the next day he was like going like 60 feet or some shit, and I was like, yeah, bruh, I'm good. You go do your 60 feet shit. I'm just gonna go roll up, find a fucking private beach, and go kick it while you fucking go 60 feet under the water. Call me when you're done, dog. Like,
that's wild.
That's what I ended up doing. I was just like, I'm sorry, I got to bail on you on this next day, but like, I can't go down past 15 feet, bruh. Like, it's just not happening for me. It's not in the cards for me, and that's all good. You know what I'm saying? I gave it a try. I did what I needed to do. Like, I don't really need to be that deep underwater just by myself, fucking swimming and shit. I think I'm good. I saw a turtle, so that's all I really cared about seeing. You know, you're in Hawaii. I want to go kick it with some turtles. You know, I got to see some turtles underwater and shit. That's all I could really ask for. You feel me?
That's dope, man.
But where you like, are you planning on staying on that little like on that kind of like main strip where a lot of like the hotels and like the main kind of beach and shit are, like Waikiki and shit like that?
Yeah, so I believe we're staying on the main strip where all the hotels, all the shops, you know, it's right next to the beach.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to be staying right there, you know, get the full on experience, staying right there, you know, on the Waikiki strip. So
yeah. That's definitely like,
that's definitely the best spot I think to stay at. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's like it's cool because it's just like yeah, it's like all right, cool. Like yeah, it's a little touristy, but it's like that's where the pop and shit is at. And it's like especially if you are renting a car, you can go to anywhere else on the island. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can go to wherever else you want to go to type of shit. So it's like that doesn't necessarily matter, but it's cool to be there because it's like obviously there are people there, but there's also some like really cool like dope spots, like different hotels and like shit like that. Like you can even get like I think a day pass at like certain hotels if you're not staying there. And like I can't remember if it was like the Sheraton or the Hilton or whatever, but there was one that's like they had like a little just like spot where it was like an infinity pool that like was overlooking the beach. So like that shit's hella cool because like I don't know, I fuck with beaches that overlook pools and shit like that.
Pools that overlook
But
beaches.
another yeah, pools that overlook beaches. I for sure fuck with that. I don't know. The view's just sick. You feel me?
Yeah, that's just dope, bro.
Um,
That's just dope. I fuck with that shit too.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, definitely. You've probably heard of Diamond Head, and hiking
Mm-hmm.
Diamond Head. That's like I think that's a pretty main attraction. Like as it pertains to Honolulu, the hike itself is not. It's not that bad. I mean, there's definitely like different paths that you can take. Like some are stairs, some are like more like a little bit trying to be like an easier path. But it's definitely like I would say like it's a beginner to intermediate type of hike. You know what I'm saying? Definitely would recommend going in the morning, so it's like you're not just fucking blazing in the sun and shit like that.
For sure.
Um, but yeah, that spot is cool. Um, what else?
What
Gotta
was
go to top of Waikiki.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I remember you telling me about that spot. That spot is at the top of my list. After you told me about the
Bruh.
revolving restaurant overlooking Hawaii, yeah, got to do that.
Yeah,
Got to
bro.
do that.
Make sure you get a reservation at that spot. I for sure would recommend getting a reservation, but it's definitely the spot. It's got some cool food. Definitely like a little bit of a menu where it's like obviously you got your seafood and kind of Hawaiian inspired food and that sort of shit, but you also got like American and like that type of shit too. Good drinks, but like you definitely going for the fact that this shit is like it's very much like it's on the Waikiki Strip, but fucking like it's a revolving restaurant, so you're just catching all these views as you're just fucking like
I
in
need
that
that.
bitch. Like,
I need that.
yeah, bro, that is for sure a restaurant that you want to go to.
Damn, I got to check that out.
What else is there?
I
A
did
little
this.
low key spot.
I'll go ahead.
Oh no, go yeah, go on.
I was
No,
gonna
go for it.
I was gonna say I'm doing the submarine shit out there. It's called Atlantis Submarines. I did it last time I was there. And I thought it was pretty dope. I've never been in a submarine, and it takes you all the way underwater. You get to see this like shipwreck and a bunch
Oh,
of
that's
like
lit.
little fish and turtles and shit. So I'm checking that out. Where Jurassic Park was filmed at, for you guys that don't know, it was actually Hawaii, and there's this big ass, I guess park is I guess what you'd call it, like a national park or something, where it's closed off completely to people. You got to get a tour guide and go out there, but hey, I'm renting an ATV and I'm doing it Jurassic Park style. So we're gonna see what
That's
that's like. We're
fire.
gonna see what that's like
That's
for sure.
fire. Riding ATVs through Hawaii gonna be so lit.
Yeah, I can't wait, bro.
That's gonna be so lit.
I can't wait. What were you
Um,
saying about that low key spot?
oh, the fucking there's like this little food truck spot, and it's kind of like in a little alleyway, but it's like right off of like the main shit. It's called Mommy's Empanadas.
Mm-hmm.
They got some fire ass empanadas.
Oh yeah,
You got
I
some
love empanadas.
fire ass empanadas. Yeah, you pull up there, like the chef is hella cool. When I was there, we were just kind of like chopping it up. But because they got like outdoor seating and shit, you can go to the street, like you can go to a little shop down the street, grab a little Henny bottle, grab something to make some drinks with, come back, get your empanadas and just kick it in this little it's a little alleyway kind of tucked off, but the empanadas are fucking like, man, they are fully worth it. Like them shits is flames. Um, you said you got a luau. You're going to a luau for
Yeah,
sure.
I forgot what the name of it is, but it's definitely one of the nicer luau's. I think it's at the top of like a hotel or something. Or actually, no, it's completely outside on the beach, on a sunset type of shit. So I guess we're trying to.
I think you might have said that it was the one that I was talking
Potentially,
about, right?
yeah, potentially. I don't remember the name, but I think it is that one. Never been to a luau, never seen what they done. So honestly, I don't even like pork that much, but I fuck with pulled pork, so I'm gonna be going for that
Pulled
all
pork
night.
is for sure fire.
Yeah, that's the main thing I'm going for all night for sure. So,
get some fire ass drinks into, but the luau vibes is sick. The luau vibes is sick.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get laid, if you know what I mean. You know, the necklaces, of course. You know, but yeah, man, you know,
my guy gonna be in Hawaii, big kicking.
Yeah, I'm ready to have a good time. You know, one thing for those of you guys that haven't been to Hawaii, you know, and are maybe thinking about going out there, I think me and Mons can probably both agree. Hawaii is not, from at least what I've experienced, it is not a going out type of town in the sense to where don't expect, you know, you and all your boys or you and all your homegirls to get out, you know, and do it big at the clubs, you know, in Hawaii. They got a little nightlife scene, but it's definitely not their main attraction. You know, it's definitely not where the bulk of their fun, you know, their activities or entertainment is at. It's there, you know, just like any other city will have it. But, you know,
although I will say this, because I was out there for a week, right? Earlier in the week, when I was with my cousin, we were with one of his homies that has been living out there and was going to the University of Hawaii for a little bit, I think for a master's or some shit like that. And he gave us some bars to go to on a Monday and a Tuesday. So on this Monday, it was apparently at this bar, it was called Industry Night. And what that means is like all the fucking like bartenders, waitresses, like people that work in the service industry.
That's their night. That's their Friday night. That's their night to go get fucked up.
That's their night to go out and get fucked up. And so we pulled up over there.
Sure enough.
And it was lit. Like it was lit. Yeah, it was lit. There's definitely good amount of people in there. Some music being played. We was taking drinks. Like, yeah, it was for sure a vibe. It was for sure. It was for sure one of them things. And it was cool too, because it was like, it was a bar that was kind of like right on the strip. So like outside the window, you could see the water and shit like that too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So like that was cool. And then on Tuesday, there was this other bar that was like, I forgot what it was, but they had like a deal where it was like something like $2 or $3 drinks or like $1 shots or some shit like that. Like one of those types of bars deals type of thing on a Tuesday, right? And that shit was also lit because everybody's coming through for the fucking deals, and we just taking drinks back. Probably got like 9, 10. Maybe a couple more drinks in and only paid like $22. Like it was lit. Yeah, so like definitely, definitely like Hawaii. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like, oh yeah, nightlife and all that type of shit, but definitely on some like, definitely on some shit where it was like, you can find little pockets and shit like that. It might be a club or two that you can go out to and whatnot, but yeah, definitely. If you're going out to Hawaii, like you want to check out the beaches, I would for sure recommend renting a car. You renting a Jeep, like definitely do that so you can go around the island.
Definitely check out the beaches spots. Just for the fact that, you know, us being West Coast kids, you know, we're obviously used to the cold water here in the Pacific Ocean. That is one of the few spots where the Pacific Ocean is nice, man. It is nice. It is fully blue. It can be potentially warm on a good day. Don't go out too deep, you know, because it is the Pacific. It got sharks and shit, you know, but
and there's a lot of dope beaches.
There's a lot of really dope beaches out there. Like
where you could just really go kick it.
I'm not even a beach person, you know. I'm really not a beach person, you know. I really hate sand in my feet, if I'm being honest with you. I'm one of those people. You know, but when I'm there and I'm in the moment, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to live it up. You got to have experiences. And you'd be missing out if you're in Hawaii, you know, not going to the beaches. It's literally what it's known for. the palm trees, the sun, the food, all the tropical shit. It's great, man. And everyone else that's out there is literally on the same vibes, So, as a matter of fact, where might be one of your guys' best bet if you're really trying to, be social and stuff like that, other than what Mons is talking about. What I noticed the last time I was there, a lot of the big hotels right on the beach, especially the ones that are right there, like literally, like, you walk outside and the beach is right there. Their pool areas during the day are damn near like Vegas pool areas. They had a shit ton of people. I'm talking about lounging and chilling, hella bars all over the place, just giving out drinks, so.
Facts. I was at this pool area, let me get another Mai Tai.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm gonna need a pina colada. Like, I'm just getting tropical ass drinks, fam.
The pool areas were popping.
Tropical ass shit.
If you guys are out there,
the pool areas, but y'all be popping.
Check out the pool areas of the big hotels. You don't even got to stay at the hotel. They're that big. Those areas are that big, and you can literally just walk right through them. Probably get a drink at a bar somewhere, and just keep it pushing to the beach. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of dope spots.
Those are definitely some of our recommendations, just based on what we've done. Based on by the time we get to our next episode, I'll be able to speak on.
Man, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what you did do. I'm for sure excited because, fam, Hawaii is fun. Hawaii is fun as fuck.
It absolutely is, and this time, I'm really happy that I got a bit more shit planned out, a lot more experiences and events, food places. I also got a little bit more freedom this time going around, with just kind of the group I'm going with and not. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited because I'm trying to do it all, man. You gotta know when we travel, we try to do it all. We try to gain the best of what we can do. I'm going to try to come up on some low key spots, for all y'all, some spots that you're not going to find on Google or Yelp, when you search up top 5 places to go in Hawaii or some shit like that, because we all know how that goes. They're kind of hit or miss. These are going to be really reviewed, really authentic. We're going to have a little bit of everything. If you want something authentic, we got that. You want something that's very, chain service, type of shit, right? We got that too. So,
big facts. I'm gonna for sure send you, if you need some, I'm gonna for sure send you a couple other food spots as well.
You got to shoot me everything, dog. You got to shoot me everything.
Yeah, there's some fire. But I will say this too, Marukami for some ramen and shit like that. It's like right near the Waikiki Strip. That's another one where it's just like you got to pop in. There might be a little bit of a line outside. I don't know how it is now. Like, it's one of those type of spots.
Would have been my first time.
Yeah, it's for sure one of them ones.
I wait quite some time here in Palo Alto for ramen nagi, dog, and that's some of the best ramen that we got out there.
Nagi, bro.
For those of you guys that are on the West Coast, I promise you guys, ramen nagi on Palo Alto is the best ramen you've had. Again, unless you've been to Tokyo and had it there, and I know because I've had it there. There's really no other ramen that's better that I've had, at least, so.
Yeah, ramen nagi hits, bro. Ramen nagi fucking hits. Hell yeah.
That's something else.
But shit, my guy, fucking enjoy your trip in Hawaii. Already after episode 2, my guy's going to go celebrate in Hawaii. We 2 episodes in. We doing our thing.
I was reviewing San Diego episode 1. I'm already previewing Hawaii episode 2. Episode 3, what we talking next, man? We going to see. Y'all going to find out.
Let's get it. Let's get it. So, it's your boy Mons again. Appreciate y'all for tapping in at Air Mons on all the socials. You know what to do. Follow, subscribe, all that type of shit. And if you go in Hawaii, fam, I definitely mentioned a lot of gems in here, and tap into next week's episode when we get to fucking talk through everything that Duke did and fucking and really go from there.
Yeah, man. And
if you go to Honolulu, you're gonna want these for sure. For sure.
And not only that, but we are also trying to get put on too. As much as we can put people on, if you guys got some dope experiences, you got some places you guys swear by, please put us on. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Drop it in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Like, let us know what's your top go-to spot in Hawaii. You know what I'm saying?
DM.
Is it a beach? Is it a park? Anything. Is it a restaurant? Is it a bar? Is it an experience? Let us know. But as Mon said, until next week, in the meantime, drop a like, drop a comment, make sure you subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We are on Apple Music, Spotify. This is the Dope Individuals podcast. It's been real, hosted by your boy Duke, your boy Mon. So until next time, y'all, tap in.
Doses. We'll catch y'all.